Try it again. Brandon.
Hey, Angela.
We're here. We're here. We're recording the day before Thanksgiving. And
Yes.
I don't know about all of you, but holiday weeks are tough for me. I lose track of what's going on. So today we had our staff meeting at 1:30. We have our staff meeting at 1:30 every single Wednesday. Guess where I was at 1:30? At the mall with my daughter.
Oh.
Pulls up on my phone, staff meeting in 10 minutes. I'm like, what? I completely forgot what day it was.
Well, if it makes me feel any better. So, unfortunately, I did go to yet another funeral. And the last funeral that you and I went to was on a Friday, right? Mm-hmm. Well, today I'm like, oh, man, 2 Fridays in a row for a funeral.
You're just as messed up as
Oh,
me.
my gosh, yes.
Just as messed up as
yes,
me.
and then I'm done for the week, too.
For funerals?
So, oh, gosh, hope so.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Well,
For the week, yeah.
I think at this point you'd have to have it scheduled.
You would think. But anyway.
That was a really bright note to start.
We were recording the day before Thanksgiving. Obviously, all of you will see it later, probably December, late December, possibly even January.
Well, because we launched, by the time you're saying this, we have December 1st. So
yeah, this will be out mid-December. So before Christmas.
Wow.
Before Christmas. So we're all in the midst of fun in marketing. And this season, we've got our Fanatics of Fun who are joining us. I've got a weird curl there that I'm seeing in the camera.
Oh, then maybe I should say, if you want to see this weird curl, jump on the, can we keep UB2B going?
We can absolutely.
Then we don't have to pay for rights. Then jump on the UB2B and check out the curl.
That is rogue. It's a rogue curl. But we've got our Fanatics of Fun who have already started completing some of the challenges. So that's fantastic. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Brandon's done a couple of them. We have completed one. So we'll talk about that as well. And I have a couple more in the hopper. Things are changing. Ooh. I know that we talked in our first episode about the second episode, I think, is when we talked about all the challenges and what I was going to do. But lo and behold, some changes have been made. So we'll kind of make some updates on those. But what I wanted to talk about first, because what a lot of these challenges have in common, because we've talked about what is the recipe for having meaningful fun.
Oh my gosh, I should know it. I've read it a couple times. There's
playfulness, plus flow, plus connection.
I knew there were 3.
And that connection, I think, is really the big one. And what I can't stop looking at the curl. And what we really want these to be about. And I was doing a lot of research on connection in the office. And I think that we don't realize how important connection is in all areas of life. But in the office, it's really easy to forget because I don't think any of us forget how important it is to be connected to our spouse or to our kids or to our friends.
Right.
I don't think that's ever in question. But the office is kind of a different place. It's somewhere you have to go. You know, you have to make money. It can become it can become a bummer. You know, I have to be there 9 to 5. And that's a lot of what this season is about, is making people realize it doesn't have to be that way. It can be fun. It can be engaging. You can make deep, meaningful connections. And all of that will probably enhance your success, definitely enhance your happiness and your well-being. But all of that is really important. And so as I was researching this, it brought me back to one of my hot buttons, which is the hierarchy of needs, because connection is on the hierarchy of needs. And this is not Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is the very famous one where first you have to meet your bottom tier. It looks like a triangle. And the bottom tier is you have to be safe, you have to be fed, you have to have shelter.
More natural.
Yeah, and only when you have that taken care of can you move up to the next one, which is love, connection. And only when you have that can you move up to the next one, which there's a lot of validity to that. But it's saying that we all have the exact same needs. Which, platinum rule here, we're all different. Granted, we all need shelter and food and
the
safety.
Standards.
We all need that. But these are a hierarchy of needs that Tony Robbins has written a lot about. And basically, there are 6 of them. We all have all 6. Every single human being has all 6 of them, but we all have a different ranking of which ones are most important to us. And so we're all born with these 6 needs. And then throughout childhood, early childhood usually, whatever happens to us during that time starts to rank them. And it's usually the ones that we did not get in childhood become more important. The one we need the most. More important. But it can go the opposite way too, which I'll talk about in a second. So the needs are certainty. So obviously that is, I need this to happen and then that to happen, and to know that I'm going to, when I get home at 5 o'clock every night, a meal will be waiting for me, something like that. It doesn't have to be ultra control. But if if their first need is certainty, you don't throw weird stuff at them and change their... Nor do they become salespeople. Right. Because there's no certainty in that one. And probably most salespeople have the second one as their highest need, variety. So that's the exact opposite. So if you have somebody whose highest need is certainty married to somebody whose highest need is variety, you're going to have some problems. The third is significance. And this is We've talked about that one. We have, because it's Todd's. Yeah. My husband's is significance. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Obviously, everybody knows, you need to feel important. Mm-hmm. The fourth is connection and love, which is my number one. Probably a lot of women's number one. Not to generalize, but it is definitely my number one. Then there's growth. So that's always have to be learning, always have to be, progressing. These are the people who usually are ambitious. They want to grow in their jobs. They want to grow in their, they do a lot of continuing education, a lot of that. They're good at going above and beyond once you get home. Like, they'll continue to read a book and study, where I'm like, well, what was on The Voice today? Right. Because you're just knowing you the way I do. Connection is pretty high up on yours. Yeah, unconsciously higher than I realize. Yeah. Because I'll play the game where I'll be like, you know what? I've had a crazy busy week. I need like some time off, some days off. And after day one, I'm like, I'm ready to go back out there. Yeah. I'm missing it. So I think I don't need it. It's just like every extrovert thinks that someday, well, I think I'm an introvert. And that could also be significance. Well, probably. Well, when we talked about that, I think it was very clear that those probably are your top two. To be recognized. Yeah. And then the last is giving and philanthropy. So those, obviously those are people who are out serving at the homeless shelters, and they're involved in Rotary, and they do every single event that Rotary does. And they're, just constant, they probably work in nonprofit and are just constantly feel the need to give back to society. So those are the 6. Again, we all have them, but it's how they're ranked. So as a personal example, my husband's number one is significance. That is very low on mine, probably almost last. And my number one is connection, and that is last for him. So interesting. What I need the most, he needs the least of. And what he needs the most, I need the least of. Which that's okay it's okay either way, we figured it out. But for him, being him high in significance and me very low in it works out very well, because if you have 2 spouses who are very high in significance, they're always going to be competing. Right. Who's more important, which is terrible. And since I'm very low in it and he's very high, I can fill his bucket a lot. Mm-hmm. Make sure he gets the limelight when he needs it. Let him give the speeches to the kids. Let him, and he always comes home and he told me one last night, and of course he always tells me these stories when I'm about ready to go to bed, and you're just halfway out of it. Oh, I got to tell you what happened today. Liz, and he gets really excited. And he was at the dentist and my husband's a financial planner, so he started talking to them about finances, which they had asked, but then he started talking about the things we've learned as a couple, and the way he always tells stories is, I tell him, I'm like, I don't ever need to toot your horn, because you toot your own horn all the time. What? And I know if I did it more, he wouldn't need to do it as much, but it's really hard for me. That's hard. When he's talking to himself up, it's hard for me. Like, oh yeah, you the man. It's like, you're already doing it fine. I think it's a good thing though, because Liz is also like, I feel she talks up everyone a ton. And then when it comes to me, it's always kind of the sarcastic, he doesn't need any more attention. But it's a good thing,
Because I'm sure if she did talk me up all the time, I would eventually get the puffed chest.
Oh,
Be like,
yeah.
well, yeah, that is me.
You need her to knock you down
Kind
a notch?
of, yes.
Yeah, that's,
Yes.
it
Well, and
works.
not, and I don't know how this is going to sound when I say it out loud, but like I do get a lot of compliments when I give a presentation or something.
sure.
People are, oh my gosh, you knocked that out of the park.
Do you come home and tell her that?
What? Did I get a lot of compliments?
Yeah.
I don't.
Because Todd does.
Oh, see, no, I don't do that.
I believe every single compliment Todd receives, he has to come home and tell me about it. And I don't know if he wants more compliment. I don't know.
So did the dentist give him a round of applause when he was done?
Oh, they were in tears and they were telling him. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm just like, great. But he always does try and put me into it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, well, I was telling him about, I would never be this way without Angie. And we learned this together. And I'm like, I appreciate that. It's cool. I don't really need that because I'm not very high. But that makes me feel connected to him. So that has helped me. But so the significance thing works out fine. It's the connection thing that has been a bit of a stumbling block for us because my bucket of need for connection is so much larger than his. Mm. And so the way around that, number one is realizing it. It's not that he doesn't love me and want to spend time with me and feel connected to me. It's just a little bit of time with me fills his bucket. He doesn't need it from anyone else. He's not out there looking for it somewhere else, but that's all he needs. Right. And then he's happy. But mine is so much bigger. So it's an easy fix. I just go get my need for connection and love elsewhere. Meaning
with friends. I know how that came out. But no, with your friends, with your business
family,
associates.
With my daughter.
I think that's why you're better at this than I am. But the consistency of one-to-ones and happy hours and all of that, I'm pretty sporadic on it. And it's more when I have open time, I'm going to attack that versus I think you plan that more. I do plan.
And I kind of have a schedule. So I do, my need for certainty is probably pretty high. I want to have things planned out because I hate it when like it's a Thursday. I expected Todd and I to go out. He tells me at the last minute that he's going to the shop. And it's not that I'm upset that he's backed out of plans. It's not that I'm upset that he and I aren't spending time together. It's like, well, now I'm screwed. I don't have time to plan anything else. Yep. I can't reach out and be like, hey, you want to go out with me in 5 minutes? That's what I don't like about it is give me an opportunity to make a plan.
And to reverse that, if that happened to him, he would just throw his headset on and jump on
he wouldn't
video
care.
Games, right?
He absolutely wouldn't care.
Or go to the shop.
He'd be like, great, pizza in the oven, video games on Yeah, he wouldn't care at all. Yep. So learning that it has been very, very good for us. But the biggest thing was knowing that it's like his need for connection is just so much smaller than mine, and he's full. And then he disengages. And so the last thing I want to do is to be around him when he's disengaged because that makes me very anxious.
Yeah.
And so I would rather get his need for connection full, then I'll go get it somewhere else. Yep. So the reason that I'm talking about this is number one, finding out where your hierarchy is very, very important. And I think Tony Robbins has a quiz on his website where a lot of the times you can just read these and
Yeah.
But if you don't, if you have some questions, there is a quiz that you can take. But once you figure these out, not only sharing it with the people who are close to you, but to bring it back around to what our podcast is about. When you're doing these challenges or trying to have more fun at work, you can incorporate this hierarchy into the challenges to make them more fun for yourself, okay, or to make them more successful. So some ideas here. If certainty is one of your highest, then you can schedule a recurring event. So like here at the, which is probably why this has happened here. I didn't really put two and two together until just now. We have a wind up every Friday, and it makes me very sad when for some reason I can't go. Or just like this week, we won't have one because it's the day after Thanksgiving. So we're doing it after this podcast.
Yeah.
But it's recurring. I can count on it every week. So that means if I'm starting to feel disengaged in the office, maybe I think one of the team is upset about something or, hasn't been really involved that week. I know that we have 4:00 on Friday that we can bring it all together before the end of the week.
Yeah.
So that's something you can do with certainty. So going through this, I think obviously my number one's connection. 2 is probably certainty or growth. I'm really big on growth.
Ooh.
Because I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly learning, and if I am not, I get an itch for it.
Yeah, I would put growth over the other one.
Over certainty?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I think it would frustrate you more if you were limited to reading, painting, kind of those things versus a wind up getting canceled.
Yeah.
So I would put growth on that one for you.
Yeah. I would say certainty's third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So variety. If variety is yours, the exact opposite. Change it up. Select a different work event each week to try, or try something new every time you do an event. And again, keep in mind, if you're doing these in the office, everybody's going to have a different hierarchy. And so, it works that we have wind up every Friday. It was probably my idea to do it, but it's important to realize that some people aren't going to like that.
Sure.
And which we do here. It's like, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to. It's optional.
Okay.
Or we're always open to suggestions. Oh, how about we throw this in here this time, or change up the game, or sometimes we'll go out to do wind up rather than have it in the office. Yeah. So keep that in mind.
Well, I got one on variety though, because I feel variety is important for me in sales, networking, all of that. It's always different, right? Mm-hmm. And I like that. I never have the same day in the office, and especially what I do. If you get into the compliance or the analytics and all that, you can literally have the same day every day,
right?
Minus a different loan you're looking at. But on the flip side of that, and I'm asking for your opinion on this. I can eat the same meal at the same restaurant every day for the rest of my life and be fine. Oh, I know. Liz hates it too. We all know my past addiction.
Ramen. I had ramen for lunch.
I wanted a little more time so people would be like, oh no. Yeah, ramen. It's ramen. My health is way better since I gave it up. But I literally could eat ramen every day. Yeah. Like every day. So where does that balance here with all these?
It's funny because I'm the exact opposite. I have a high need for certainty, but I want to eat something different all the time.
You want variety.
I will, leftovers to me are like the hell.
Those are my favorite.
It's like being in hell if you told me I have to eat leftovers.
Okay, and see, Liz definitely needs certainty. Definitely, because when plans change, she ain't a fan. I used to be worse. I'm better now. But she won't eat leftovers, and she wants something different.
That's funny.
So there has to be, see, this is what I'm saying. There has to be something there, because it's obvious that I need variety to be successful in my career, but I would just love to eat the same thing.
It's also, it's quite possible that the variety, it sounds like an oxymoron, but variety and certainty could be tied.
Yeah.
So it's like, I need certainty in this area, but I need variety in that area. That's very, very possible.
Yes. So food. We're using food and work here.
Right.
But see, Liz she's not content. She loves a little variety, but she wants to know what her day is, have the checklist and knock it out. Yep. Interesting.
Yeah. So they could be really close, and she's got all of her certainty filled with that.
Yeah.
So food is where the variety.
Oh, and see, I have variety all over the place.
So you need a little bit of
certainty.
So
I'm like, hey, I know I like the taste of this.
That's where your certainty comes in.
All right. Yep. Hey, we're discovering stuff left and right here.
Figuring it out.
Left and right.
So significance. If one of your highest is significance, you can incorporate teaching into your fun or into your challenges. So maybe offer to go in and speak to students. There's a lot of, depending on what your interests are, hobbies are, line of work is, there are a lot of, opportunities that you could probably go in and tell kids about your career, or help them woodwork, or
I got a great example.
Okay.
This is a true example. So in my group, we have a nutritionist. And he likes to fight. Like, he's a fighter.
Okay.
That's why he loves the nutrition piece of it and the physical health of it. So he got asked to come speak to, I think it was kindergartners or first graders. No, kindergartners, right? And he's a funny guy. And so he thought about it long and hard. And the main activity he did is he had them all peel a cutie. Because he's like, it's good for them. Vitamin C.
Yeah.
But man, it was hilarious watching all these kids.
I bet. I have a hard time doing it.
Yes, one kid was fine. The other kid's throwing it.
Squirting in the eye.
So as you talk about, going and present, I thought that was very impressive.
Fantastic, yeah.
To tie it all together.
Absolutely. So that would be great. A fun learning activity in the office in one of your areas of expertise. So I'm always trying to coach, because Todd, again, is very, very high in significance. And he's always saying, he's a financial planner. So it's not my dream job. I want to go teach. I want to coach. And I'm like, you can do that. Is what you're doing.
Do that, yes.
I'm like, it's your perspective. You get annoyed. You do that. It's like, if you went into each meeting as I'm going to coach them. I'm going to teach them. And when he's able to get into that mindset, then he loves it.
Yeah.
You know, it comes out, oh, I was able to, and they were so impressed and they loved. But it's when he pops out of that mindset and he's like, I'm just a salesperson. I hate this. You know, again, most of the stuff that goes on is it's right here. It's not, it's not out here.
Absolutely.
It's in here. But, and then he has fulfilled that need. He did coach his daughter's volleyball team. He's coached Little League.
Is that what inspires people to do that? I have no inspiration to coach children.
It is the need for significance, and then it's also the dharmas. Remember the dharmas, the makers. He is a teacher, so he's got both of them.
Okay,
which I would assume that everything's connected. So if you're high in significance, your dharma is probably in that teacher realm. Yeah. You know, I'm a maker, so coaching and doing it doesn't really do much for me because I got to be making something. So it's his dharma and it's his highest need. And there's probably 800 things that it falls under. But if that's not your dharma, if that's not one of your high needs, then no. The thought of it is going to be like, oh, I'll do it if my kids really want me to. But Todd's like, I'm Coach Todd.
I signed up before the kids did.
Yeah. So connection. He's a great guy. I never wanted to seem like I'm putting him down. He's got a lot of fun things to talk about, psychology wise. It's endlessly fascinating to me, and our relationship is endlessly fascinating.
Yes, and that one is intriguing and why people stay. But I've never read a sales book or a motivational book where they didn't talk about something in their family. Like it's everything we do in life is just magnified when it's your own little family.
Petri dish.
It is. It really is. I test a lot of sales stuff out on my kids.
If you're not going to learn from your family, you just knocked over our fake succulent.
I can't do it with this. I love the new studio. But I have this little end table that is not my friend today.
Yep. Kicking the table, but better than kicking the can. So we don't want another funeral this week. Okay, moving on. Connection, which is mine. So this one's pretty, connection is built right into that meaningful fun. So all of them are about connection. So going out and talking to strangers, having events with clients, all of that is about connection. So if you got a high need for connection, this is right up your alley. All these challenges right up your alley. Growth, if yours is growth, incorporate learning. So read a book like Mindset with everyone in the office and discuss it.
Ooh, yeah.
That would be a fun activity. If yours is growth, join a book club, join a mastermind group, anything like that where you're able to learn either from a book or from a coach or from each other. Keep in mind that you can learn so much from everybody you meet if you just shut your mouth and open your ears.
Oh, that's a concept. Do you know how many masterminds I've done? Well, I've done one with you.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed. But how many more I've done besides that?
72.
One.
Was it good?
I still talk about the book. Because it was like the one time. Heather, why can't I think of her last name? Heather, the coaching. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The E-Myth Theory.
I've not read it.
I was just getting into networking and she said, hey, I'm doing a mastermind on this book. I didn't even know what a mastermind was. I'll be honest with you. She should have said book club. That's what it is.
It is, yeah.
And so I got all excited. So I joined and I started going. And then they were like, well, here's the book. And then you have to read a chapter each week. And I'm like, well, that sounds nuts. But I did it. It's a concept of, well, the base story is a pie maker that loved making pies started a business and now she hated her life because it was no longer the passion of making the pies. Okay. So then it breaks down the three: entrepreneur, engineer, and manager, and how that balances. And in the networking world, I use that a ton because if you have an engineer that joins a group, they're not going to do great at one-to-ones.
Right.
Because they're going to be like, this is how you do it.
Right.
But they can be great on leadership because this is how you do it.
Right. Yep. So that's dharmas. I mean,
yep.
It's all the same thing. Giving. That's the last one. So if you're high in giving, get out in the community. Yeah. Join Rotary, go ring a bell for the Salvation Army, serve at the homeless shelter, any of those. And you can take the team with you. You can take clients with you. You can make it office related. You can make it client related. Just focus it on giving. So those are the ways that you can incorporate those. So to end this episode, I want to talk a little bit about the challenges. I don't want to talk about them all,
right?
Because we've got some more We've got a second episode coming up that I want to talk about some of
Dig deeper
them.
into 'em. Yeah.
Yes. So I will go ahead and talk about the one that we have completed in our office that was, this would have been challenge within the office. So colleagues, teammates, and it was do something new that you hadn't done before. And so we did a DraftKings.
I saw that.
And we actually attempted to do it the week before. I'm the only one in the office other than Dan and Travis who does DraftKings on a regular basis.
Oh, okay.
So I'm the only one who knew how to work it or who even had a profile, which my profile is Big Fatty Sugar.
What the hell is wrong with you? Why do you...
So there's a story behind it, and it's
I'm sure there is.
Faddy, Fatty. When we first started doing DraftKings, Todd and I were going to have a profile together before we kind of realized what it was and what it was going to look like. And so the profile name was going to be Big Daddy Sugar because that's one of his nicknames. And I fat fingered it.
Yes.
And did Big Fatty Sugar. Then there was no way to edit it.
Oh, shoot.
And then Todd went and created his own. So I ended up with Big Fatty Sugar.
So that's your...
That is my DraftKings name. I didn't even have to put a number behind it.
I was like, yeah, nobody
else had
took
Big
that.
Fatty Sugar. Anyway, so I tried to create a game. You can do games with just the people you invite. A closed game.
Okay.
So DraftKings, usually you're competing against thousands and thousands of people from all over the country for a lot of money.
Right.
But you can do a closed game where it's just the people you invite, and you can do it for very little money. And we do one every Sunday with a couple of our friends.
That's cool.
And it's like $5. And
yeah,
the winner takes all is like $18. So we did it, closed one with everybody in our office. It was a $3 game. And I did something wrong the first time I did it because the game didn't go off. I have no idea what happened.
Oh.
But we did it again this last weekend, and it worked. And it was just a lot of fun because we were all, watching. If we weren't watching all the games, we were watching our phones to see who was ahead and what was going on. And we had some of the girls take pictures of themselves watching football and, cheering on their players. And it was just a lot of fun. And then, of course, Monday in the office, Sarah was our big winner.
I saw Sarah with the trophy.
She had her Chiefs sweatshirt on. The Chiefs had not played on Sunday. This game was only taking into account the Sunday afternoon games.
Oh, because they didn't.
The Chiefs played on Monday.
Like, just recent?
Right.
Yeah,
lost.
Yeah, they lost. That wouldn't have gone so well then, huh?
Yeah. But she won, and it's just a lot of fun. Different context, take you out of the day to day. It didn't get me doing something new because I do it every week, but it got the girls doing something new, and there was some of the friendly competition together.
So what I like about that, and I was going to touch on this earlier. You talked about connection, right? A lot of this is all about connection. And for you guys are here all in the office. For me, we have branches. So it is outside. And me and another, he's a fanatic, Dave. We are really working hard on bridging the gap of that separation. We're trying to bring the connection back because branches feel like they're on islands. They're not in the main area. And they don't always get to do the fun stuff. What you just described, though, everybody on the outside could then be included, and they don't have to physically be there to do it. So again, drawing the connection, I think that's a good thing, and especially if you do have multiple locations, especially if it's out of state, because that's a tough one too.
Yeah.
You can't be in every state every day. That's a really great example of something to bring everyone together.
Yeah. And hindsight, if I had to make any changes to it, maybe I would have brought invited the team to a bar or something to watch one of the games.
Oh,
but again, we are in the office together all the time. So it's not like we're, but that would be a great thing if you had remote workers, if you were all in the same area, that you could do the DraftKings. And then on Sunday, everybody comes to DJ's and watches the Saints game.
Because there's so much more remote work. Gosh, there's some companies that everyone's remote.
Yeah.
Huh.
And if you did do like the game we did, it was just those afternoon games. So you could bring everyone together to watch the whole thing because they're all playing at once.
Right.
And if you're at one of those places, you can watch all the games.
Yeah.
Or Red Zone, which I despise.
I don't touch it.
And my husband, that's what's on. at our house on
Is that
Sundays.
where it jumps to the different games
Yes,
for all
it
the
drives
different
me insane.
movements?
I'm like, I just want to watch a game.
You just want certainty, don't you?
I do. I just want to watch the damn game.
Just give me certainty of what game we're going to watch.
Yes, and now we can't even get any of the individual games because of the way I don't know what we have. We have Dish or something, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
That's
I know.
lame.
So I never get to watch an actual game. I suppose I can go to the bar. Oh, wah. I have to
Reds.
go to the bar. Anyway, so that was the one that we successfully completed this week. It was a lot of fun. I think the girls really enjoyed it. And in our next episode, we will hear from Brandon about some of the challenges he's completed, and then we'll talk a little bit about one of our Fanatics' challenges. She will be a guest on our show, but I do want to talk about some of the challenges she's completed, because by the time she's a guest on our show, she'll have completed a bunch more that she can talk about. And she's been really involved, so that's been fantastic. But until then, do you have anything to add to this episode, Brandon?
No, I do like the underline of connection. This is really just bringing everyone together, doing something a little different, especially as we're getting into the holiday season. Well, we're getting into the holiday season.
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity of people you wouldn't always connect with, do a little connecting with.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us here on the Engaging Life podcast. Please go look at our YouTube page, follow it, do all that good stuff so you can see my rogue curl and see that we are wearing matching outfits today because we are doing a photo shoot.
Yeah, you're probably going to see some photos. And I'm going to push another reason you should check out the UB2. Well, I got two. One, we're going to show videos of some of the stuff here in the future. But then also, I have a new hairstylist.
Fantastic.
I know you can't tell today because since it was the first run, I just kept my mouth shut.
Okay.
But I have some suggestions for the next round. And let's not recall the 3 months of the last season of the horrible haircut and how we progressed through it. Do you not remember that?
Your hair always looks the same to me.
No.
No.
No. Oh, gosh, no.
Okay.
No. See, if you watch the UB2B, you can see it.
Okay.
You just watch
I'm sure they
Progressive.
might. Here's a funny story about hairstyle. So I was almost blonde for quite a while there.
Yes.
Quite a while. And then I did this.
Yes.
Which is very dramatic.
I noticed it.
Very dramatic. So Todd did not notice. And we go to Old Chicago to do their beer tours.
Bartenders.
A waitress who had not seen me. She was our waitress one time.
One time.
One time ever. And it was like a month and a half later. She comes up. You changed your hair. I'm like,
wow. Wow.
Now, granted, that is a psychological thing because if you see somebody every day, even big changes sometimes don't. It's if there's a gap that you notice. So
it's same with weight loss too, right? Like if you're seeing yourself every, you don't see the progression, but if someone doesn't see it for 2 months, they're like, oh my gosh, you lost some weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well.
So I'll give them a pass on that, but I still make fun of them because the waitress who's seen me one time in her entire life
That's hilarious.
knew that my hair had changed and he did not. So that wraps up this episode of the Engaging Life podcast, and we're excited to talk to you next time.